And we are live with session 59 of our Drown Gods campaign. And as always, let's get started with everyone resetting their hero point pools to 1. And we do have Akalupu notes, so let's kick those off.
More cocoa biters. Mono is in a bad mood after Gar made explosions. The pterodactyls are coming. JB is attacking with nature to lead us to the chief. Mono Inui and Ip kill the chief. Out bursts the mother of all cocoa biters. After a long, hard struggle with much buffing and poisoning.
Oh, the chief. Never mind. I was like, did Akalupu not give himself credit for killing the matriarch? But it was a chief. Sorry.
Yeah. The chief he didn't get a chance to hit.
Yeah. No, that was my misunderstanding. Go ahead.
Yeah. Outbursts the mother of all cocoa biters. After a long, hard struggle with much buffing and poisoning of Junior, we smash her head open like a coconut. And we then begin to plan to make the best gumbo ever. Well, JB drops strange hints to Mono Inui.
Yeah, sounds about right. Even though I feel like you should change it to just mother of all biters. That way it can be Moab.
Nice. I like it.
Because Moak just doesn't sound the same.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that covers pretty much everything. JB, as he was wrapping up, was saying that he has a suspicion that the Great Mother will be visiting the tower soon, and also said that this was going to be his last pilgrimage to the tower. Something that you would probably know, especially Mono Inui would certainly know. JB does every single year. And he has suggested using all of these corpses, which you're going to need to do something with them. And unless you want to just like let a herd of tyrannosaurs in here and see how well that goes for you, probably want to deal with the bodies somehow. So Gumbo seems like probably as good a way as any. So, Junior, you've already been volunteered to do some digging.
Yes. Especially now that they finally actually healed my poisoning.
Yes, you are no longer poisoned. You feel much better now. You're able to kind of shrug it off after a few minutes. You must have a very strong liver.
Got a big liver.
Yeah, you have a very powerful liver, and thankfully Captain Lady did not get a hold of you and give you a bad habit that would have destroyed that.
All right,
so JB's like, all right, boy, why don't we go all ahead and dig a pit right over here? He's going to point here-ish, which I guess technically... Matriarch is already here. I went ahead and cleaned up the board so that there aren't a million cocoa biters in limbo, since they were technically dead, but I didn't want to mark them all with X's one at a time.
Understandably.
I'll give you a hand if I could, but unfortunately, as you can see, and he lifts a very skinny arm, like... Not quite like straight atrophied, but definitely very slender. Not a lot of meat on those bones anymore. But as you can see, I am not, unfortunately, in the best of physical conditions at this point.
That not what? Is that not what? Strapping young lads like Junior here are for. I mean, God bless you, sir.
I mean, I would suggest that they are useful for more things than that, but I'm afraid it would sound a bit creepy, so I shall refrain.
You might be a little too late.
All right, Akalupu, are you just gonna stand in the tower?
No,
You're gonna push Manui out of the way. Just kick her.
I mean, I'm gonna shoulder past her if she doesn't move.
Oh, she gonna move. She gonna be out by
JB.
JB. I don't know why I could not remember his name.
You can't remember your own character's name.
Right?
What's funny is to this day, like last session, you still called him JP as if his name was John Baptiste.
John Baptiste. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it is.
All right.
Always will be, baby.
Burn Bright will have Gur join in as well, so he's gonna get his like mechanical hand. Well, I guess actually first, Burn Bright's gonna go over and do some repairs on Gur because he took some damage.
That's a lot of damage.
So that'll take like 15 minutes or so. So you'll get him healed up and then join in on helping Mono and Nui with the digging. All right. Who all is joining in? Is Zip gonna join? I assume Mono and Nui is above such things.
Of course. Hard manual physical labor, as if.
Exactly.
Mono Nui, every hand counts.
All right, so those of you who are digging, if I could get a perception check.
Use the dice. Use the dice.
29.
29?
Yes.
All right. So as you are digging, you find what you are fairly certain are human bones.
Mono Nui, do you have anything to say for yourself? I found bones in your backyard.
Don't look at me, man.
It's your backyard.
I don't dig in the backyard. If anything, it's Junior burying local wildlife.
Doing what with local wildlife?
Burying.
I don't think
know what he
humans
does at
count
night.
as.
Yeah, you're not 100% certain. The bones are a little kind of like mixed up, and there is no skull.
See? We don't even know if these are people. These could be the bones of any creature.
If someone has, what would that be? Probably medicine. You could get a better idea to identify them more clearly.
I have a 0 in medicine.
Mono Inui, you do not want to identify these bones.
I do not want to identify these bones.
No, you do not.
Okay. If only someone had knowledge of bones. What a shame. Well, this is clearly a grave site. Let's go. Let's just might as well start our bone fire.
I'm going to take a closer look. I rolled a 29 medicine.
All right, yeah, these are definitely human bones, and from what you can tell, they're between like 7 and well, I guess a wider range than that, probably more like 8 to 10 years old, or 8 to 5. I mean, 5 to 10. Final answer: 5 to 10 years old.
So, based on my recent readings of medicine, these bones here look like a slightly underdeveloped fibula and tibia, which are definitely human bones. A human child, in fact.
Wait, the bones are that old, or the person who died was that old?
Yeah, I should clarify that. The bones are that old. So whoever were buried some 5 to 10 years ago. As far as the age, I don't think I don't think medicine has come far enough to really make much of a call on that. They don't seem small enough that you immediately would say they're a child, but they could be a woman, they could be a small person, they could be like you're not sure if it's a child or not.
I see. I misunderstood.
Mono Nui ain't out here, killing folk. Maybe. That's so strange. Huh.
You have no recollection. I mean, these seem to have been buried here within the time span that you have lived here.
I mean,
I'm
like,
just saying.
look, I'm not here all the time. We make frequent trips into the city. Cocoa Biters run throughout here. I can't tell what or what not does not get buried here. I mean, as you can see, the Cocoa Biters, they obviously roam the area.
All right, well, Junior, do you have any idea what this could be?
I mean, there could be multiple explanations, but it's nothing that I know about.
Is no one else shocked about this discovery of recent bones in the yard? I mean, I feel like I'm the only one that's a little bit worked up about this.
Well, I mean, do you know of anybody who's gone missing recently? I mean, I guess I just don't know that many people, so.
Yeah, it happens from time to time. The woods around the island are still pretty dangerous.
See? Heard to hear himself. Dangerous. And the way, especially the way these are buried, it looks like an animal probably buried these. Let me take a closer look. I've got a question.
Yes.
If I'm intent on deceiving members of my group, can I tell you that? And just say I want to roll deception? How does that work?
So you can roll deception to see how convincing you are, and then other people can like use that to decide how they want to respond.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pretend to. I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to take a closer examination of these bones, and then Monroe is going to. Yeah, these clearly look like they're buried here by some animal hiding their prey.
Yeah,
mark.
I have no idea how often these little foot biters here will bring me someone's foot, either with or without flesh on it, and I never do ask where they come from. Sometimes it's better not to know these things.
Some of the unfortunate realities of not living in a safe community.
Oh, that totally makes sense. It is pretty wild out here. There could be lots of wild animals. I'm not used to that from where we live in the village.
In the village.
There's not too many bones lying around. Except the ones that, Junior leaves behind as he eats everything in his wake. When he visits, of course.
Speaking of food, let's get this gumbo going.
Indeed. So at this point, you guys have made a bit of a pit, and so he's going to ask Junior to drag over the Cocoa Biter matriarch, who has been split in half, conveniently making two gumbo pots.
It's almost like I planned it.
Exactly. And so JB is going to get started on making a very large gumbo. So it's even with both halves of the matriarch, there's still way too much Cocoa Biter. And so he starts kind of working them, cutting them up, getting the parts that are edible out of them. He seems to be fairly adept at butchering Cocoa Biters, interestingly enough. And soon enough, after using magic to light a fire underneath the pots, quote unquote pots, there's a bumbling gumbo going, which he has added other ingredients to, asked for a few things out of your stores, as well as things that he's either provided from a bag that he has, which seems to not, like, he's pulled more out of this bag than you think is possible. So he's Mary Poppinsing it. And he's also had his dinosaurs fetch a few things. Whenever he needs to be moved between the pots, he has his foot biters carry him around. The gumbos are beginning to bubble and smell quite nice at this point. And he's had Burn Bright and Gurr clean out some of half shells from other cocoa biters to make bowls with. So everything is prepared. All right, now, I do believe that we have finished our gumbo. I hope that you are all hungry. After all, gumbo is only for winners, and I do believe that this qualifies as winning breaking this siege. Would you not agree?
Oh, I'd say so.
Well, certainly not losing.
All right. Well, I hope that you brought your appetites. And he starts to dish out bowls and hand them to everyone. Burn Bright he's half unicorn? Yeah, so he can eat it. Or no, 3/4, same as Ape. But you guys are allowed to eat meat. So that is convenient for you. Now, before we begin, shall we have a moment of introspection as we thank the Great Mother for this glorious feast that she has provided to us? So
I think that would be appropriate.
Akalubu moves the bowl of soup away from his mouth.
So he just kind of closes his eyes and is quiet for a few moments. Then he says, "Very good. Now, let's begin." And everyone, I imagine, digs into the gumbo after all that fighting. I imagine that worked up quite the appetite. Even Akalupu, who already got a sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "A sandwich cannot sate me."
Yup. Especially after all of that.
Yep. Gurr, of course, wanting to join in with everyone else, is pouring soup over himself, as ineffectually as you would expect.
Ip is not a huge fan of meat, so he's just trying to share as much as possible to avoid offending JB by not eating it.
Yeah. You can definitely pick around the meat to some extent, though it is difficult. All right, Mono Anui, as you are eating yours, you hear a voice from somewhere around you that goes, "Psst, hey, look down here."
I'm going to look around. Would I need to roll a perception check to look to find it?
You could roll perception to try and get a better idea of the direction it came from.
Okay. A nat 20. Look at that. I don't even need my plus 10. Get out of here.
All right, you are quite certain that it is coming from your bowl of gumbo.
Oh, that's that's disturbing. All right, I'm going to look at my bowl of gumbo.
All right, you look at the bowl of gumbo, and you can see a slight rippling effect, like on the top of your bowl. But without getting closer, you're not going to be able to really see into the gumbo because it's fairly thick.
I'm going to let me see. Does this work? If I use message, can I talk directly to that thing without anything hearing me? Or would I have to be able to
You're not sure what to target with message, so you're not sure how you would actually do that.
Okay. I'm gonna look down and I'm gonna say. Yes.
All right, so you lean in a little bit closer to your bowl, trying to get a better look, and
I'm going in for a big old bite, but I'm actually talking.
You say, yeah, Exactly. And you say yes. And right as you lean in, suddenly a hand shoots out of the bowl of gumbo, grabs you by your shirt, and yanks you inside of it. And
Into the gumbo.
yes, into your bowl of gumbo. And with a slight exclamation and like a sense of disorientation, you blink a few times and find yourself once again in a familiar library.
Was that entirely necessary?
So, for the first time you think you've ever seen it, you actually hear a noise coming from Topple, kind of a hissing noise, but you're pretty sure it's a chuckle.
Well, that's terrifying.
Oh, come now. We have to keep things interesting, don't we?
You know, some people, I'm sure, some patrons open trees in the woods and have a portal there. Some patrons probably have a door. But, you know, bowl of gumbo, why not?
Indeed. Well, glad you were able to take care of that business with the whole siege going on. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a nasty bit of business. I'm going to rub a spot where I've been shot by an arrow. Specifically one of the more gnarlier spots, I should say. I'm sure there's more than one.
Oof. Oh, quite the big mosquitoes you have there on that island, I see.
Yes. The mosquitoes are quite pesky. But I think it should be a while before we're bothered by them again.
Oh yes, I imagine so. Well, I won't keep you long. I just felt that I should make you aware of something.
Yes.
That, you remember, last time we visited, I mentioned there was one other, agent on the island.
I do recall that.
Well, you're, sitting right next to him.
I am too terribly surprised, just given how strange he is.
Yes. His patron is, how shall I say, something I don't quite understand, which, as you can imagine, makes me uncomfortable.
Well, if I'm going to be honest, that makes me uncomfortable.
Yes. Anyway, I would be careful around him and his. That's it. I just felt you should be forewarned before going into whatever comes next.
May I just ask, in what way specifically can I be careful?
That is an excellent question, and if either of us were gifted with foresight, one that perhaps we could answer. Unfortunately, I don't think I can.
I'm rather surprised that you are not.
No, I collect knowledge of things that exist. Unfortunately, the future is something that yet evades me, though perhaps with time I can find ways to bypass that.
Well, I appreciate the heads up. As a quick question, are they another patron, or?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
You said that he is another patronee. I forgot what we decided.
An agent.
Agent. And there's another agent.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make the person who's an agent for another patron. Is that correct?
To the extent that I am able to determine the facts surrounding the situation, yes. However, as I said, this patron is something I do not fully understand. They are certainly not quite like me, shall we say. Though they are... What was that?
I think that'd be a tall task for anybody.
I'm afraid not. There are many here who have similar ambitions and skill sets to mine, though I would argue they execute on them a little less effectively.
Well, I do appreciate it. Hmm.
Well, I don't mean to keep you from your party. Please do enjoy. I don't believe he, at least, intends you any ill will. And then with that, before you're able to respond, this time you don't even step back into the portal like normal. The kind of pentagram where you normally return. Instead, you just find yourself once again kind of like as if you had just awoken suddenly from sleep with a slight start, but still holding the gumbo bowl quite close to your face. And everything is continuing as if nothing had ever happened.
Junior, you care for this bowl of gumbo? I seem to have lost my appetite.
What's that now? I can't imagine anyone losing their appetite for gumbo.
Maybe just for the presents. I'm sure there'll be plenty more left over. Well, maybe. She has a pointed look at Junior.
Poo Junior has eaten like 5 bowls by this point.
I'll eat it. I never get hungry, but I am also always able to eat, says Gurr. And just soup is leaking out of his suit from every tiny hole.
Yeah. Be either sanitary or good for it. But what do I know?
Oh, don't worry, dude. Gurr is like totally, like rust resistant. I threw him into like the ocean one time and he was like totally fine.
You say so.
I can't swim. I sank to the bottom and got lost, and a nice clam helped me.
Manawanui is lost in reality.
All right. So you guys kind of finish eating. There's so much more gumbo than you guys could possibly eat, even with Junior's rapacious appetite. And so eventually, as things are winding down, JB has his Cocoa Biters push him up over toward the edge of the gumbo bowl. And he says, all right now, well, with all this extra, I suppose I should see if I can read the gumbo. Perhaps the Great Mother will send us some message.
Oh.
And so JB begins to stir the gumbo a few times in kind of an odd pattern, and then he takes the large wooden spoon he's been using out and slaps the very center fairly hard, sending ripples running out through the gumbo. And looking into it, it seems to be moving in kind of a almost hypnotic fashion, continuing to undulate longer than you would suspect. And You can almost believe that there is something to the patterns that the gumbo makes as it ripples across between the different chunks of meat and vegetables and other bits in the gumbo, as well as off of the edges of the bowl, which are uneven from the smashing that Akalupu did. And after a moment, JB is staring at it silently, and he says, "Oh, now here is a message I have long hoped to see in the gumbo, for I have read in here that the Great Mother will be visiting us this very night."
Yay.
Wait, you can speak directly with the Great Mother through this gumbo?
Well, not directly, but indirectly. You must understand that this world is made up of forces you cannot see or even comprehend. Surely one of your specific talents should understand that there are forces beyond us.
Absolutely.
And indeed...
I'm just amazed that you are able to interpret these signals so well.
Oh, well, you see, once you made as many gumbos as I have, you start to perhaps seek some deeper meanings, and perhaps if you are to seek long and hard enough, you can even find them.
So you're saying that anyone can communicate with the divine through their passion?
Oh, yes, indeed. If you are willing to put yourself out and to ask and to make yourself known to them, perhaps if you can get their attention, you will be able to feel the tug of their effects on our world.
Wow. JB, I'm so glad to have met you on your final pilgrimage. I feel like I could learn a lot from you.
Yes, well, we have had ourselves many good years, but there must come an end for us all. Us mere mortals are not meant to exist forever in this world.
Do you mean to say you're gonna die, like, tonight?
No.
Because I thought we were still gonna, talk about religion and you could teach me about making gumbo.
I'm afraid, boy, that indeed my time is coming to a close, and it is my time to go and be with the Great Mother. But there will be others in your life who will be able to guide you, as I'm sure you have many wise and faithful friends surrounding you, even now, and we'll find more in the future.
It's just so frustrating. As soon as I find someone who shares my piety, they're immediately taken away from me. Just stay with me longer. Teach me.
Oh. I'm sorry, son. Unfortunately, we cannot control the times or events in our lives. We must merely accept the fate which is presented to us by those who are wiser and greater than us.
Well, then we better go hash it out with the Great Mother herself.
Yes.
She is visiting tonight.
Indeed. Though I suppose it will most likely be a few hours yet.
Is there anything we need to do to prepare?
All this gumbo was my preparation and my offering to the Great Mother, one that she seems to have been quite pleased with, indeed. Though I hope that you will also speak to her this night, as I once did many years ago.
I hope so too. Fingers crossed.
All right, so it is at this point not dark, but the shadow of the mountain is making its way steadily in this direction. Um, so, what would you guys like to do for a few hours as you are preparing? The black tower, so the obelisk that Mono Inui made his tower near is not too far off. Is that correct, Abe?
That is correct.
All right, so it's just a short hike over there.
What? Plug it in? Yeah. And wait, into the plug? Oh, where is it?
Da da da.
Sorry, hold on.
No worries.
Solving the world's energy crisis. We're out of time.
Exactly. JB, for his part, once the gumbo has been eaten and some of it has been stored away from later as well, is going to turn basically the entire thing into a pyre and dispose of the remaining parts of the cocoa biters. Though he frames it as, you know, the final step in his offering as he sends the, the sweet aroma up to the Great Mother in the sky.
Hmm. Mono Inui. Hmm. Hmm. Can Mono Inui study the gumbo?
Sure, because he obviously isn't keeping it for himself, since he, at least as what he has said, is he does not expect to be, leaving from here.
Yeah.
So
And Mono Inui is going to see if there's anything odd or anything different about the gumbo than just like regular old gumbo.
okay. How are you examining it? Is it like you're just looking at it, so a perception check? Is it, you're looking for something specific about it, running tests? Like, what kind of a skill are you thinking you would use to examine the gumbo?
I was thinking either occultism or arcana. If it's applicable.
Go ahead and roll occultism.
Occultism?
Yeah.
Where's my dice? Oh no, it's gonna make me roll it on. Oh no, here it is. I was like, gotta make me roll it on the computer. No! My weakness. I mean, it's not the best. But, let's see, plus 11 is a, like 18.
All right. So examining the gumbo, as far as you can tell, it's standard gumbo, seasoned very well. It was delicious until, you got yoinked into it, which kind of soured the whole situation for you. But otherwise, it seems pretty normal. But you do remember Blackrock, who is still surviving. And some of the things she had, she seemed to have the ability to read people's auras and divine information about them, as well as different rituals, like reading the tea leaves would be the thing that you think is most similar in terms of this particular ritual. Assuming that JB isn't just, full of crap and that it was all nonsense. But you have definitely seen that BlackRock has, in cases, been able to do similar things to divine information that she shouldn't otherwise know. And it has been accurate.
So I have the read aura cantrip. Would that do something?
What does that give you? I don't see it. Do you not have it prepared?
No. I was actually going through right now and doing my daily preparations.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and read what that does?
Sure. You focus on a target object, opening your mind to perceive magical auras. When casting is complete, you know whether the item is magical, and if it is, you learn its school.
Okay. So this is a different kind of reading from what BlackRock, because I'm sure you've discussed this before. Because you have an interest in these sorts of things. From the way BlackRock has described it, it seems different. It seems to be more about seeing the true person underneath their like public persona. Is somehow personified through swirls of color that over time BlackRock has learned to read. But every time that you've talked to her about it, her school of magic makes like very little sense to you. Like you don't understand the rules. It all feels very foreign to the way that you understand magic.
All that hippie baloney.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have to read the colors.
Except for the fact that, like, it's proven to be true on multiple occasions, and you hate the fact that you can't deny that.
Just coincidence.
All right. Anyone else have any plans for the remaining couple hours?
I think Akalupu is going to try to sleep.
Try to what?
Sleep.
All right. Easily enough done. Burnbright like tells Gur to go jump in a river, which he does, and then comes back still soaking wet and cold, and decides he wants to curl up on top of you and sleep like a kitten, which may or may not wake you up. And obviously,
everything that's going on today, I think Akalupu sleeps through it.
All right, so you'll wake up to Gur pretending to sleep on top of you, because Gur obviously does not actually sleep.
Nice.
All right. If you're interested, JB is happy to talk with you and share his wisdom for these remaining hours.
Yes. I am his attentive student.
All right. So you get some good old Bayou wisdom from JB. Some of it makes sense. A lot of it is like very strange metaphors that you're not entirely clear on. So
like platitudes in another language, basically.
Pretty much. He's just like, yeah, you see, now here, it's like when an alligator eats a rock and then poops it out again. You know, things that are harmful may pass through you, but they will not pass into you.
Yeah. Ip nods and pretends like he understands everything.
Exactly. And my expectation is that you have, this isn't like your first time meeting JB or anything, and you can correct me if that's not the way you're thinking. But he's definitely like an old family friend.
Yeah, I just didn't realize how connected he was to the Great Mother until now.
True. And so kind of toward the end, as the shadows are lengthening and the sun is starting to properly set, GB says, well, now that was a fine talk. You are quite the young lad, very much not like your father, though I do not mean any offense by that.
No, I know. He was very different than I am.
Yes. Well, that is what makes this world so great, is it not? The fact that we are all different and bring our own special spice to the world, just like gumbo is different by every person that makes it.
You're different, JB.
Well, thank you. I will take that fully as a compliment.
It certainly was.
Well, I suppose it is time we should be heading to the tower. And yes, I realize JB's gone way more southern than Abe was doing it. I'm sorry. His accent is just never going to be right. I can't do it.
Hey.
It's impossible. I can't do any accents. I can't even do an accent of my choice, so I don't blame you.
You can't even do like a Boston accent? You can't park your car in Boston Yard?
I definitely can't keep it up. That's the problem. I could do it for like
that's fair.
A sentence.
That is very fair. All right. Did I not keep the tower? Looks like, oh, it's probably this one. Yep, here we are. Delete all of your doppelgangers. There we go. All right, so you make your way over to the tower. Feel free to position yourself however you would like. I think you would be on the approaching from the east over here. All right, so you guys begin to set up around the tower. The tower looms very almost featureless into the darkness, the dark metal disappearing into the night's sky as the sun goes fully down, leaving only a negative space in the stars marking its location until a few lights are set up by the magic casters in the area. It is a moonless night, so it is almost entirely pitch black otherwise. And JB says, well, now, we shall see how long it is before the Great Mother graces us with her presence. But I must tell you all something. Please gather around.
Yes.
We must gather.
All right. So Junior is just like, nah.
Junior,
Maybe.
respect your elders.
Junior hadn't woken up from his nap yet.
Whoopsie. Gur is splashing in the water. Now, as I mentioned, I conversed with the mother some great time ago, when I was still a young lad. I'm sure it is quite obvious, but despite my relatively good health, which the mother has granted to me, I am quite old. And in fact, like when talking to other people from this island, most of the people who are like the elders of the island know JB as like being an old guy when they were younger. Or at least like an adult, right? Like no one on the island knows of JB being a child. And Monoanui, you especially, as a very long-lived individual, have noticed JB's incredible longevity. Despite, like I said before, as far as you can tell, he is human.
Far as I can tell, eh?
Yep. Well, you see, when I spoke to the Great Mother, she told me that she had need of heroes, that she needed great heroes to send off on a mission of incredible import, and asked me to perhaps find some some people who would be suitable. And I do believe that you may be those people. I hope that you will speak to the Great Mother and take on this quest, which I believe she will give you. Now, I don't know how much your parents have told you about the Great Mother's visits. We should see a great constellation in the sky lighten up, brighter than any full moon, and then sending down a beam of light so beautiful it could make you go blind. Now, I suggest that you do not approach this beam of light, as I can only imagine it's not a thing you want to do unless you're ready to go and be with the mother, shall we say.
Don't do anything crazy, JB.
Oh.
Don't do anything crazy, Manawanui.
Why would you ever say such a thing to me? You know full well I have never done anything but crazy my entire life.
Oh, JB.
Alright, so as he says that, indeed, those of you who are, looking at the sky, you start to see a very unique constellation of stars, brighter than those around them, up above you. They make,
Oh?
Did we lose Abe?
No, I'm still here.
Okay. You just made a noise. I thought you were just going like, hello?
No. I was asking me for something and I was trying to figure out what it was.
So you see these stars above you, and JB says, "Here she is. The Great Mother is here to visit us at last." And you see these stars growing brighter and brighter before suddenly beams of light interconnect all of them in a web pattern. You can see why it would be described as the Great Coconut Tree. It does, in fact, look like several branching leaves going out from a center point, which then descends downward, or, well, it's in space, so down away from the leaves is as down as you can make sense of. And then all of these lights kind of pull toward a central point before a beam shoots down. Who of you are going to keep your eyes open for this happening?
Well,
I hope Junior thinks about it, but he decides he is not that curious and likes his eyesight.
It is going eyes open.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can I cast Penumbral Shroud upon myself?
Let's see. What does that do? Shroud of Shadow. You perceive light as one step lower than it is. Bright light becomes dim, for example. Yes, this seems like a spell tailor-made for this situation.
Okay, I'm going to cast that upon myself.
All right. So that is going to give you a +1 status bonus against light effects, and the check will be a bit easier because it will be one step lower from blinding. All right, so I need a fortitude check from those of you who are going eyes open into this situation.
All right, fortitude. Oof. Why is my fortitude only a +9? Come on.
A good thing you have that shroud.
29 today. I just got another 29. That's my third in a row, 29.
Dang.
27.
All right. So those of you who close your eyes, mostly just hear Gur going, "Ah, my lens is cracked. That really hurts. Why am I still looking?" The two of you, one of you through sheer willpower and faith, that would be Ip, keeps your eyes open. Mano Anui, with your shroud and good roll, you are also fine. So you see this blinding beam of light shoot down to the tower. You see the tower light up, and this formerly dark, featureless, smooth surface just comes alive with blue glowing lines across the entirety of the tower in patterns similar to, certainly you in your time with Burn Bright would recognize Ip, similar patterns to some of the old technology that you have found around the island when scavenging for parts. Mano Anui, you would recognize it as well, if for no other reason than Genie's key. And the tower just comes absolutely alive, humming and glowing. The water around the tower shimmers and ripples, and all of you can feel the ground under your feet begin to rumble. And then Ip, you rolled really well yet again. You can make out actually past the light various doors or otherwise openings on the tower itself beginning to open with a hissing sound, releasing an amount of like colorless, kind of, well, I guess not really colorless, kind of a white gray steam. And you also see at this point JB with great effort actually stands up off of his palanquin. This is the first time he's stood. And he seems surprisingly steady on his kind of toothpicks of legs. And he says, "It is now my time to go and be with the mother. I bid you all adieu, and I hope to see you again one day." And he begins walking toward the beam of light.
Goodbye, JB.
So much for not doing anything crazy.
Yep. He says, "Farewell, young lad. I expect great things of you. As I said, I believe you are the heroes that the Great Mother needed. And now that I have done that which she asked of me, I return to her. Please accept my soul, Great Mother, as I come back to you." And with one last wave and smile behind him, he turns around and steps into the beam of light and vanishes as if he had never been there at all.
Well, I think we're all a bit more illuminated.
And so finally, the beam of light dies down, despite surviving without any massive damage to your sight. Those of you who didn't look have bright bars across your eyes as you try to blink away the after image, and slowly your night vision returns enough that you can actually see surprisingly well, as even though the beam of light has gone away, the tower itself is still lit up brightly with those blue glowing lines. And you can see there are 4 doorways across the tower which have just appeared out of the completely featureless, smooth surface of the tower.
Alright, guys. Not be too rash.
The
For all we
footbiters
know.
kind of go over here and mope. They're sad. JB's dead.
Long live JB.
Or is JB more alive than he's ever been?
That's true.
He didn't die.
JB's
He just-
gone. How about
oh.
that? To be fair, maybe he got transported. You know, he might not be dead. He just vanished.
Translated. Well, that was very interesting.
I think we should go investigate this tower, obviously.
Yeah, dude. Though that was crazy. I never expected JB to just like, what did he even do? I assume he was like up to the tower or something.
I think. Well, whatever happened to him, I think it's warrant for us all to be cautious.
Yeah, as Ip can definitely attest, sometimes this technology stuff gets like kind of crazy.
I think my curiosity is getting the better of me this time, and the light which JB walked into is no longer there. It's just the residual light that's apparently unlocking this tower for once in forever. So we better take advantage right now before it runs out.
Yeah, absolutely with you, bro.
Let's send Gur first.
I mean, sure, if you're that worried.
Hey, if you want to get translated into the creepy tower, be my guest.
Well, I'm already touching it. It feels like a little warm, but otherwise fine.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
Not that I know much about those.
Hey, at least I'm not jumping into like a volcano or something. Cut me some slack.
Hey, that was one time under very specific circumstances.
Yeah, that is not how our dad told that story.
That's what we call less than reliable narrator.
All right, so you guys go up to the tower. Are you going to push Gur in first?
I guess as the oldest of the group, I should go in first. I'm gonna head in first.
All right. So you go into the tower, and the interior seems to be made of a variety of different materials, fairly similar to the exterior of the tower itself, though not nearly so hard. Interestingly, despite the exterior of the tower feeling somewhat warm, as Burnbright mentioned, the interior, the air is quite chill, and if you touch the walls, they are also cold, colder than just the coldness that of room temperature metal. There are a variety of strange looking ropes that seem to be run across the roof. Each of the doorways, which this tower is not to scale, by the way, it's quite a bit larger. But each of these doorways leads down a small hallway, and eventually they all seem to meet together in a central room, which is circular in nature. So basically, imagine that the pool, like all this water, is actually just the interior of the tower, and these paths are the hallways, and this center would be the platform.
Well, seems to be not instantly deadly. Not one who is going to advance further down the hall.
All right. So you continue down the hallway. It's pretty much as described. Nothing in particular changes.
All right, I'm gonna go to the middle.
All right, so you go into the center and you can see the center has a slightly different pattern on the ground than the rest of it. It seems to have some sort of, it's kind of like concentric rings, and then in the very center, it is a different color. So instead of the largely featureless gray metal, the very center of the tower is a large circular glowing blue spot. And you can see on the walls around you, there are also some sort of glowing rectangles that looked very, very different than the patterns that you've seen elsewhere, which, as far as you've been able to determine, don't appear to convey meaning. These rectangles, on the other hand, seem to have pictograms on them that clearly must convey some kind of meaning. There is a few arrows, I guess 2 arrows, one pointing up and one pointing down, and others whose nature you're not quite certain of. One of them is shaped like 2 balls with a stick, kind of a curved stick between them. Another one is shaped like a dome that is more narrow at the top and wider at the bottom, and has a small nubbins sticking out of the bottom. And the only other one that you can definitely discern is one that seems to be a drawing of fire.
Well, we're not letting Octolupu touch this panel. Can't have us all combusting today. Burn Bright. Come here. Let's see if you can decipher some of these pictograms. See if you've maybe seen any of them in your explorations.
Yeah. Not really, dude. Like, I think maybe that one that's like the 2 balls connected by like a curve is like a banana coconut or something. That's been like my best guess. I think I've seen that once before. Obviously, like, the arrows pointing directions are like arrows pointing directions. Like, that one makes sense. And fire seems like, I don't know, bad.
Yes, I don't think we should hit the fire button.
Yeah. I don't know what this weird cone-shaped one is. All I know is, like, one time I found it on, like, a piece of, like, a robot I found, and when I pushed it, it made, like, a really loud, annoying noise.
Well, let's not hit that one either. Well, what do we think? Up or down?
I don't know. Like, what's even under this tower? Has anyone, like, tried digging down there?
Well, some of us were maybe beneath the tower? Question mark.
No, you were, when you surfaced, you were adjacent to the tower. Didn't seem like you were directly underneath. Now, Manawanui, if you've ever been curious and dug under the tower, that is possible.
Manawanui has been curious and dug under the tower.
All right, so you at one point dug under the tower, and you ended up, even though you were digging like some ways out from the pool itself, you ended up hitting metal, the same metal as the tower, and digging away from it. It seems that this metal is a good like 20 feet underneath the tower and continues outward from it at a slope.
It seems that this tower has some sort of underground root system.
Dude, like a great tree or something. It like all comes together.
I vote is for down. or banana button?
I don't know. I feel like maybe we should see what's at the top of the tower first, and because there's less to explore up there.
I hesitate to ask, but Akaluku or Junior, and fire button is not an option. No fire button.
I like up. I like to get high.
But I don't know when he's going to hit the up button.
All right, so you hit the up button, and you feel the ground suddenly shift underneath you in a very disconcerting way. And you find yourself being raised up. Well, I guess before it starts moving, rails come out of the floor. I assume everyone is actually on the platform at this point. Ip isn't just like chilling in the hallway.
Yeah, I'm in there for sure.
All right, cool. So the platform raises for a time. It doesn't move super fast, so it takes a little bit, and you find yourself, as best as you can guess, pretty far toward the top of the tower. Though it is hard to tell different distance as the walls, largely featureless walls, pass by you. And the platform settles into a perfectly matching circular space, and stops moving as you have been lifted up into a large room. And you can see around you are various seats. These are very strange seats, though, with like long backs. They look quite comfortable, but not really a design you'd ever really considered, as you are pretty much just used to stools. And a few fancy chairs with backs that are like essentially thrones to you. So I guess that would be the best way to describe these chairs, is all these thrones, though they're leaned further back than you would expect for a throne, quite comfy looking. And in front of each of these chairs are a variety of what would be the best way to describe it, counter spaces in front of each throne, and sat upon the counters are many strange shaped objects which you definitely do not understand. And then looking around you, you see that not the expected featureless gray interior walls, but instead, you see a panoramic view of the island, though as if you were quite a bit higher than you could possibly be in the tower. You can take in the entirety of the island, even the mysterious other side of the mountain, which very few of you visit, as if you were flying in the air. The air here is very still, but not musty like you would expect. It doesn't feel old and unused. It feels fresh, but there's no hint of wind at all.
Some strange magic enchantment here. I think it's best if we don't let our guards down or sit in those thrones.
It's too late. Akalupu's one of the thrones.
Are you in like the biggest throne, right toward like the most central throne, the one that would be, captain's chair in a Star Trek ship?
Yes.
All right. So Akalupu, you sit down, and as you do, you're not sure whether it was just the act of sitting or perhaps you hit something on, the chair, but in timing that is arguably too similar to be coincidence, a bunch of lights come on across the room, and you actually see many of the devices in front of these thrones light up as well. And you hear a strange, somewhat androgynous voice coming from all around you. And it says, "Welcome back. Beginning operations."
Akalupu. Get up in the chair.
Primary user Akalupu registered.
Agalabu is going to. Are there any specifically bright or shiny buttons near him?
There are indeed. There are a variety of shiny buttons across the arms of your chair, and a weird-looking kind of knobby bit that sticks out in one place that looks like it moves.
Agalabu is going to mess with the knobby bit.
All right, so you do that, and suddenly the view that you're seeing projected on the walls all around you begins to shift position. And it seems to be moving in correlation to the direction that you push the knobby bit.
Akalupu is going to kind of go like into the ocean toward where they live and go as far as he can.
All right, so you make it a short ways offshore. The island itself is not entirely gone from view if you look behind you, but you seem to be probably like, because you're at this height, you would be able to see something like an island from miles away. So you would guess several miles away from shore before it stops allowing you to move any further in that direction.
Nice. Akalupu's going to bring it back to the island.
All right. Manual controls are all well and good, but if you have any specific requests, do let me know.
Akalupu's going to say Outset Island.
Designation Outset Island unknown. Can you define its location in latitude and longitude?
Latitudes? I don't know the attitude. I mean, I get pretty happy.
Unfortunately, I am unable to parse your request. Perhaps you would like to see the sea charts.
Yes, sea chart.
All right, so you see a projection in front of your chair, and you see a 3D topographical representation of the ocean around you. And you can see, though, that it is incomplete. It is there's a section of it off to the east that is just showing red text that says error across a completely flat plane. But off to the north and somewhat east and the west of you as well, you can see the ocean with various islands poking out of it, highlighted in green to make them easier to make out in the vast ocean of blue. Do any of you are any of you any good at navigating? That was PPOP's job, but he's somewhere.
What skill would that be?
He was using nature for it, I think.
I think I was using survival.
Yeah, survival. That was it.
And I've got a +12.
It's not
Better
bad.
than what I got.
Alright.
I have a +7.
So I'm gonna try and look at these charts and see if I can't tell where islands. See if I can't recognize the plot.
All right.
Also, maybe, I don't know, write it down, copy it over to our map.
Well, I think people would probably took the map. Alright, so 24.
I don't think PPOP ever made a proper map. You guys hadn't really like developed paper or writing or any of that.
Well,
PPOP used like folk knowledge, basically.
his intuition. Monogary's gonna pull out a spare piece of paper that she has, parchment that she has with her at all times, and start transcribing the map.
All right. Make me. What would that be? Crafting, I suppose.
Okay. I prepared for the whole life. Well, not the whole life, but you know, I put a lot into crafting. Let's see. 24. 24. That's funny.
All right. So you do your best to line things up, at least roughly in relation to each other. So you're pretty sure this could be useful in trying to navigate, but it would not be precise enough to really rely on.
But can I recognize like the general pattern of like places that we traveled? Like maybe if
Yes. So in fact, you are able to make out. There's essentially a pin saying something pointing to an island, and it sure looks like Dino Island as far as you're able to tell. So you're pretty sure that's where you are, and then. Assuming that it's oriented the same way with north in the real world, you're able to track your way back, and you can, in fact, find Outset Island, though not far east of that. In fact, even Papaya Island seems to be in this arrowed out section.
And there you all were too young. Well, not even too young. You weren't even born. But this is where your parents are from. I'm gonna point to Outset Island.
Point to and touch.
Huh?
Point to and touch.
Well, if you want to hover over.
Akalupu's going to touch it.
All right, so Hakalupu pokes it, and the map zooms in, and you actually see a much more detailed view of the island. And it looks much the same as you remember it, Mano Anui, though there does seem to be some strange features on the island that don't quite match up to your memory.
So.
There seem to be fissures or cracks on one side of the island that you're pretty sure were not there in your youth.
Oh no, Genie, what did you do? Oh my gosh. Okay. Is there a way? Akalupu, ask it to show the island.
Can you show us this island right here?
Retrieving last scan data, and you see a more thorough representation of the island sent out. It doesn't seem quite as photorealistic as it doesn't seem as real. Everything around the island feels slightly too flat and kind of weirdly colored. Almost as if someone were guessing at certain things.
Can I see the village?
You do, in fact, see the village, and it seems that it is similar to what you remember, except it's spread now. It seems to have grown since last you were there.
This must be from more recent than when we were last there. And it's nothing. You said it's not like the kind of like live bead-looking thing that we have with the island that we're Dino Island, right?
Yeah, no, with your on your current island, it basically just looks like you're looking through a window. Not well, I guess you would know what a window is. It would just be a hole in the wall instead of having glass. But this one, like I said, it feels slightly off. Colors aren't quite right. Things aren't quite as detailed as you would expect. Things are kind of flat. And not as textured.
Absolutely. See if you can tell us something about the state of the island, or how many.
Can you tell us something about this island?
This island is designated 1223B.
Is that it?
For more information, I will need a more specific query.
Ask how many people are living here.
How many people are living on the island?
Define people.
Humans? Like me?
Right. It'll give a number somewhere in the 50s to hundreds. I don't remember exactly what we decided the population of Outset Island was.
But is that greater than the last time Mono was there?
Yes. Not by a huge margin. Probably 10 to 20% larger.
This is not going to be a question that makes sense to you, Arkaluka, but ask it what genie is.
What is genie?
Designation genie unknown. No information retrieved.
Well, it was worth a shot.
All right, so it looks like we decided the population was 50 people, so it's probably 70-ish now.
Ask it about these cracks.
What are these cracks?
Scans indicate that there was volcanic activity on the island.
Good thing that hermit's not up there. It'd be a real shame if he had to, get burned alive. Thank God someone took him out humanely. I'm just kidding.
I think he would have liked being burned alive by the volcano.
He doesn't know what he'd like. He was ill. He was very ill. He was very ill. Ask it about the great mother question mark.
Do you know anything about the Great Mother?
That information is overwrite in progress.
You broke it off a little.
That doesn't sound good.
And then you after hearing that wind down, you see the lights around you flicker for a few seconds before once again going steady, and you see the map kind of disappears from in front of you and is replaced with a projection of the torso of a fairly somewhat featureless. It's not fully featureless, but it's not very detailed. Kind of the same way the island was slightly flat. This projection is not super detailed, but you see a blue torso of a woman, and she looks around the room, and she says, so someone was poking around in my tower. Who might all of you be?
I'm Junior. Nice to meet you.
My name is Ipwipip.
All right, so introductions around, I assume.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Mono Anui is going to ask, what happened to John Baptiste?
John Baptiste.
No Princess JB.
Was he the hermit who lived on this island?
Yes, the one who just got annihilated by this tower. That is correct.
I do believe he's moved on. I no longer sense his presence. I had wondered what happened precisely, but that makes sense.
Well, if you don't mind us asking, who exactly are you?
Well, that is rather a difficult question to answer. I've gone by many different names over the years, though I suppose Great Mother is probably the most appropriate. You could say I am the creator of this world. And indirectly of all of you, of course.
JB was saying something about you needing to find heroes for the Great Mother.
Well, I see that the groundwork has been laid and will make this quite a bit easier because, yes, indeed, I am in need of heroes. You see, as it seems that you've been looking at the map already and poking around some of the data available here, some of my other shrines have been desecrated and no longer operate. I can no longer see into those areas, and it's very important that I be able to do so in order to steer your world in the right direction. And I would ask that you go east, far to the east, to the island of Ice and Fire. There you will find another shrine, very much like this one. I'll need you to cleanse it and bring it back to my site. Would you all be willing to take on this quest for me?
Yes.
Okay, at least I have a hard bargain. What exactly do you mean by cleanse?
Well, I'm not quite certain. It depends on the nature of the desecration at the site, and I can't see it, so I'll need you to go there and, well, try to figure it out. If you are unable to, I can perhaps find a way to contact you and help, but I'm not certain. My ability to contact in those areas is greatly lessened with my shrine destroyed. Or unoperational, at least. As I said, I'm not able to determine the exact nature of what's going on there. I can show you what little I do know. And suddenly the projection on the walls switches to just one patch in the front of the tower, so directly forward of Akalupu's chair. And you can see an image from very high in the sky, even higher than what you were seeing earlier of the projection of the island around you. And this one, unlike before, where it seems to shift perfectly as if you were actually looking through a window, the angle that you're viewing it is fixed. But you see an island from a great distance away, and you can see that one half of it seems to be blackened, with gouts of fire occasionally erupting from the ground, while the other half is frozen over, as if the highest peak of a mountain.
Well, that doesn't seem natural.
Real pleasant place.
Yes, no, it's quite an issue. Unfortunately, I don't have any messengers I can send down to deal with it. They seem to be rather preoccupied or gone. But I must stress to you the importance of this mission. Without my ability to keep this world in harmony, it is quite likely that things will begin to degrade and fall apart, becoming much as this island is now, out of balance.
Oh, that's awful rude.
I don't think the island means anything personal by it, so I wouldn't quite describe it as rude, but it is very unfortunate, and if this were to continue to spread, I don't know what would happen.
Mm.
Oh, I believe you introduced yourself as Ip. You seem very willing and eager to take on this mission. Would you be interested in receiving my blessing?
Yes, so much yes.
All right, so she gestures to a chair kind of off behind the captain's seat, sat off a little bit from others. And it has a small table on one side of it and a variety of kind of spider-like limbs above it. All in metal. And she says, then please do take a seat.
It runs over and sits down immediately.
All right.
All the instruments of blessing you have.
Well, sometimes form is less important than function. And so you sit down. Now, you're going to be bound shortly just to ensure that you hold still. This is a very precise moment. You will feel some pressure, but do not worry. You will be fine. Just take a deep breath.
Like my dentist.
Take a deep breath and prepare yourself. And so, as she says that, clamps come out of the chair itself and lock you in place so you couldn't move even if you wanted to. And one of the arms, in a very sudden but precise motion, jabs directly into your chest between two of your ribs and down next to where your heart would be. And you feel, strangely enough, not pain, but just a pressure, as if someone had, chucked a small rock at you and hit you fairly hard, but not even enough to bruise particularly. And you look down, somewhat confused, perhaps bemused by the discongruity between that sensation and the spike sticking out of you. And then, as suddenly as it entered you, it retracts. A couple of other arms reach down and pinch to get, and you see a beam of light come out from one of them and shoots down into the wound, which the other arm is holding open. It then switches from holding it open to holding it closed, and the beam of light repeats the process. And the clamps retract, and you look down, maybe even feel your chest, and there is no mark whatsoever of what just happened.
Ip is just sitting there with his jaw open.
My child, you are now blessed with my grace. Through this...
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, my child.
I wasn't expecting it to be such a mechanical process.
Well, I'm unable to be there to do it personally, so this is what is available. But know that now you and I are linked.
Oh joy.
Wow.
Are
I'll be
there,
counting on your divine guidance.
as I shall count on you, are there any other who wish to receive my blessing? So Burnbright's gonna look it up and kind of just like make a face like, should I?
It didn't hurt.
All right, dude, because this is honestly like kind of my jam. So he sits down, and the process is repeated. He stands up, kind of shakes his arms out, feels around at his chest, like, bro, it like didn't hurt.
I told you.
Man, I feel like, if anything, I feel better.
Junior, are you gonna do it?
No. I have a slight aversion to things being shoved into my chest.
I won't force my gift upon any who are unwilling.
Yeah.
Though I must stress that there are great benefits that come with it.
Yeah, but what are like the downsides?
Well, none that I can think of. Will make you stronger, faster, more resilient. You will be able to perhaps sense some of my guidance, and I in turn will be able to more thoroughly understand what it is that you are going through and to provide that guidance.
Yeah, call me old-fashioned, but I think I'm good.
Very well.
What?
See, you got a head on his shoulders after all.
I've had enough experimentation done on me throughout my life.
This is no experiment. This is quite settled. I understand what I'm doing, and I can guarantee no harm will come to you through it. But like I said, I will not force you if you're unwilling.
Akalupu, we are in a tower that is sealed all the time. All the time. And it only opens once every century or whatever. And this being is what opens the tower that never opens and is offering to give you power. And you are saying no?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it.
What?
I think I'm gonna have to say no.
The lad make his own decision. He doesn't
That's
want
shocking.
strange things thrown in his body.
Anymore.
And like untrustworthy or unknown people.
Anymore.
And
I feel like I'll stop. Just seems like she's proven her trustworthiness just by the circumstances.
I tell that to Davey.
Don't worry, Hip. Even if he is unwilling to accept my blessing, and I do understand how forceful it seems, I do hope that you, and she now turns toward Monowanui / Junior, are still willing to help me in my mission.
I'm all for helping.
I appreciate that. Now, my time here is unfortunately limited. I can only communicate with this tower while the alignment is correct. So, if there's anything else you wish of me, please ask it quickly.
Let me make sure I just got this straight. Go east, land on an island called Ice and Fire. Cleanse it, restore your shrine.
How
Yes.
do we get into the shrine?
Well,
If it's like this tower, how do we get in?
I believe that...
isn't it, Junior?
Please continue.
I was gonna say it's gonna be desecrated, isn't it, Junior? So I imagine if it's I don't know why I'm talking in a Scottish accent now.
Yep.
Just come on.
Well, I believe the tower is damaged, and getting inside should actually be fairly easy, unlike this one, which is still fully operational. And if that turns out to not be true, as I said, I will do my best to give you guidance. I wish that I could give you more exact details on its location, but unfortunately I'm not really sure how I would convey that to you. I guess, and she pulls the map back up once again, kind of zoomed out, and you can see in the red area, she points to an area quite far to the east, even from Papaya Island. It should be here. Perhaps you can use that to make some relative judgments of its location to narrow it down. Though, obviously, as you saw from the view I sent you earlier, once you actually approach it, it will be unmistakable.
Unmistakable.
I have a quick question. For you being a divine being and all that.
Yes?
What do you think about the practice of chanting and sailing around an island 3 times?
I don't particularly have an opinion. It seems like a lovely tradition.
So, like, could you say that you as, like, a divine being could give us a pass on doing that?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's not necessary. But there are other forces that perhaps are the reason why you do such things. There are there are more gods than one, you must understand.
I mean, I was just hoping that, like, you being, like, the whole, like, great mother and everything could just give us, like, you know, like how moms do, where they're just like, I've got a pass, you just don't worry, I've got, like, you know, the most control. So
she should be like, here, take my blessing, and then you can have your pass.
Nah. Island chanting. Oh gosh, I can't stop.
Well, as I said, as far as I am concerned, it needn't bother you.
all right, thank you.
One last navigation question. Are we talking gosh dang it, are we talking due east? Or, like, is it more like a...
She pointed on the map.
Yeah.
Huh?
She was pointed on the map.
She did?
She did.
Oh, JK.
She pointed, it's in the giant section that just says error, but she did point to an area fairly far to the east. It's not like due east, but again, you know, you probably on your map marked to the best of your ability its relative location, but it's not going to be exact.
Yeah.
You said doo-doo.
Well, that brings an end to our time together, I'm afraid. I must go, though I hope to hear from you all again. I would also recommend that you exit the tower fairly soon, as the remaining energies held within will dissipate with time, and the doors will shut.
Can you
It
tell
was
us
an
what's under the
honor
tower?
to meet you.
Huh? What did you say?
I was just like, as she's like leaving, he's like, can you just tell us, like, generally what's under the tower?
The heart of the shrine, so to speak. I'm afraid I really must go. Ip, it was also wonderful to meet you, and
I'm sorry about my colleagues being so rude to you. I promise we're good heroes.
well, don't concern yourself. I understand that not everyone is as tuned in to the forces around us. Farewell, and with that, she fades away, and you can see the lights around you also starting to dim slightly.
Well, you've heard the Great Mother. Shouldn't down here. And with that, she's gonna kind of grab Akaluku's arm and lead him, somewhat drag him to the lift.
Somewhat drag him.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, I assume he's not resisting.
No, he's not. He's good with leaving. He's also very much thinking to himself, he's like, hey, I wasn't being rude. I very much was controlling myself. I had several jokes and innuendos I could have made and didn't.
Yeah, you could have gone booba again. Like it was the torso. They were there.
He had some lines.
The statement that it was a flat 2D projection.
No, it wasn't flat. It was just less detailed. But Agalupu thought he was very respectful. I mean, Agalupu's, idea of what it means to be respectful is maybe not the best, given his raising. Yeah.
Well,
He blames Mono anyway.
Right. And if you want to be locked in here for another 100 years,
Yeah, dude, we're already coming.
I mean, I should say, I don't want to be locked in here for another 100 years. I don't know about
you. I have the divine power within me.
That's
I'd be
true,
fine.
bro.
You got something in you.
Who knows what we could do? You think maybe I'll be able to shoot light out of my fingertips like you do?
While they're talking, Mono is going to hit the button.
All right, so it returns you once again to the bottom of the tower. You can see the hallways going all four directions away from you, and it is settled in place. The rails come down.
Mono is going to start going out one of the exits.
Don't you want to see what the heart of the tower looks like?
I do believe the instructions of your divine mother was to leave quickly because the tower is sealing back up.
Who are you and what have you done with Mana Wanui? Okay, let's leave.
Yeah, bro.
Mono knows, like, I got
That is what she said, right?
Yeah, she said to leave before the tower powered down. Yeah, bro, maybe we'll get to see the heart of the other tower, when we cleanse it.
That makes sense.
Mono Anui accepted responsibility for a child. That's what happened to them. Said Mono Anui accepted responsibility for a child. That's what happened to them.
Child?
Yes.
Junior.
What did you say?
It was saying that you are not being yourself because you're being the most cautious one in the group instead of the least cautious one.
Being a V. You'll understand one day. When your best friend ditches his child and leaves him with you, you'll understand.
Yeah. Akalupa decides to live in the tower, evidently. And it's like, I have to change windows. Get my mouse. Alright. So yeah.
And Indiana Jones just slides right out of the door.
There you go. And then grabs his butt mask You know, the scary mask he wears on his butt just as the doors close. No, it doesn't cut it anywhere near that close. You guys go outside of the tower and you do see it slowly fade. And if you stay around long enough, eventually the lines around the outside of the tower do fade almost entirely. And you see sliding into position the doors, and then they push outward, fitting absolutely perfectly into their the gaps, so that once again there is no indication of any opening, not even a tiny crack or line where those doors once were. And
Wow.
that's where we will leave it off for today. So let's go ahead and wrap up as always. Let's start with Junior. What did Junior learn?
Junior learned that his upbringing may affect his decision-making process more than he would like to admit it does.
That makes sense. You never know, that blessing might do some nice things that you'll wish you had.
Probably.
But at what cost?
Yeah. And Jason, I would assume you don't want me to tell you what it does and instead just like find out the effects kind of as things go. Is that correct?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. Speaking of, what did Ip learn?
Ip learned that his friends are apparently very skeptical, more skeptical than he anticipated.
Yeah. Luckily, you've rubbed off enough on Burn Bright that he's more or less down for that sort of thing. And last but not least, what did Mono Anui learn?
I learned that if there's ever a tower being engulfed in light, grab hold of it very, very firmly and not let him run at it.
It's not his time yet. He has a mission. Yeah, you're good for a while at least. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, everyone. I hope you all had a great time, and I will see you all at the next one. Bye.
Bye.